Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday. Of course, once again, we are talking all things Matchbook Betting Exchange, Irish St Ledger. There were four quarterfinals at Limerick on Saturday night. A couple of really tough contests to get stuck into. Form hard to gauge it. Plenty of traffic, but we now have our final 12 in the classic, the final classic of the year, of course, and it really is starting to come to a boil. Once again, the ladies really came to the fore, and we have a number of female qualifiers, as well as a couple of very impressive winners on Saturday night. I'm joined as always by the exiled dub Tommy Lyons from his Yall base, and another exiled individual. The Joe Show is back in town. Joe Sheahan. It's hard to tell. He's wearing his professor jacket. Honestly, he could be in West Limerick, but he's actually still in Dubai. Joe, I believe you're coming back for the final. Is that true?
It certainly is. I'm glad to announce it. Flying in, landing at 1 o'clock on the Saturday. Hit the road from Dublin to Limerick. I'm sure you'll give me a lift in. You won't leave me out tumbling on the M50, will you? And landing down to Limerick, watching the racing, and then on for a few tunes after racing, playing a bit of music straight after the last race. So I'm buzzing for it. I'm counting down the days.
Are you bringing the guitar from Dubai, or is there a guitar at home?
The guitar is travelling. That guitar is like a third limb, or a fifth limb, should I say. The guitar travels everywhere with me, so yeah. It's ready for action now.
You have a couple of spare limbs. You have a couple of spare limbs, is what you're saying. Let's get into it. Joe, you've been watching from afar. It's been a tremendous ledger thus far. Obviously, a couple of sour notes on Saturday night. We lost some really talented greyhounds from the competition, but it still remains a competition of real quality.
It's a fantastic ledger this year, and it's wonderful to see Matchbook Betting Exchange back as sponsors again this year. But the beauty of this ledger is how tight it is between them all. Normally, you have one or two standout performers, your 29-30 performers, your 29-35 who stand out, might go 2-3-1 in the betting. There's nothing between them, and even before the quarterfinals, there was nothing between them in the betting or in the racing. The margins are so tight, and that's, I think, the standout feature of this year's ledger that makes it so incredible. It's fantastic, so tight, and as well as that, the amount of local interest this year, fantastic. See, 16-year-old Evan McAuliffe at 16. I was the one in A9 or A10 winner would have been good enough. But to have a ledger semi-finalist at that age and such a family affair, it's wonderful to see. There's so many stories in this ledger this year, and the best is still yet to come.
Yeah, I couldn't train myself at 16, never mind a greyhound. Tommy Lyons, a tremendous ledger. We lost a few very big names the other evening. Balnabola Ed went out, Vincenzo, obviously went out. But we still have real quality there.
Well, look, it had to happen at some stage, Ian. There was that much quality in it from the start. We were bound to have a night like the other night where some of the more fancied runners exit the competition. I can see, it's like you said there at the start, I could see 4 bitches in the final. Looking at the heats for next week, the semi-finals, it's fantastic quality still. I mean, you've got, just look at the lineup, the likes, look at the quality of the bitches: Bockles Crystal, Bobsleigh Dream, Ballymac Run, and Ballymac Whisper. 4 phenomenally fast bitches, like they really are. And you've got Romeo Magico and English Derby and a Weekend Dream Juvenile Classic, who's actually Pascal Foy's done a phenomenal job getting this dog back to this sort of form and consistency. In fairness, like the quality is just Mustang Jets in there. God, it's Trinity Junior, an up and coming one. It's just top class, top to bottom. Still is, despite the fact that we lost so many big names the other night. It's still top quality.
Right. In order to look forward, let's look backwards. Let's look at the quarterfinals from the other evening. The opening heat, Weekend Dream, 5:38, 17:42, 29:74. I was going to say it's away and gone, but it's sort of disputed into the corner with Deadly Showtime. He's in the right spot. He goes around in front. Sadly, Deadly Showtime took a fall, but he was up and racing. He finished at the tail of the field, but Weekend Dream left clear, and in the end went on to claim a fairly comfortable 3-length success from Kilcolgan Zeus. I actually met Karen Gagan at Shelburne Park on Friday night. She was there with the retired greyhounds meeting people at the Styles, and she was fingers crossed and whatnot. Well, Kilcolgan Zeus lives to fight another day in the semi-finals of the ledger. And back in third was midfield Dino, who denied Beach Avenue. In truth, there was plenty of traffic here. Deadly Showtime obviously got hit the deck. Buckles Budsit found traffic at just the wrong spot when he was trying to challenge for second and third spot into the back straight. And Beach Avenue got badly held up on the opening corner, ran on very strongly, but sadly not meant to be for him. But Weekend Dream, Tommy, from the inside, he did what he had to do. He came away racing. He now has a sequence of races where he's after putting it together, which is something he hasn't done since the juvenile. They've been trying to get him back to himself, and by all accounts, he's running very well.
Well, in fairness, I think if you have, and I'm not a trainer, but if you have a greyhound like that, of that quality, and they miss a lot of time, the last thing you can do is rush them back to their very peak. You've got to let them find it. And sometimes that means you're going to have to suffer defeats, and plenty of defeats maybe along the way. So to get it back, the dog back, like I think I might have said after the first round, I don't think it's harsh. I think it's just the way you have to kind of look at things. I think I said after the first round, I wasn't ready yet to trust the dog that I would do it week in, week out. And I think that's just you're kind of watching them. And if you're a punter, you certainly can't. They have to prove it to you, not the other way around. So like I doubted it or didn't know what to expect. It went from doing a 289 the first round, winning from trap 4, 278 the next round, 281 from the inside the other night. I mean, all those are good enough to kind of turn, from what we've seen through the ledger so far, all those are good enough to turn in front or certainly be disputing the lead at the first bend or whatever else. This is a proper training performance. Whatever happens the weekend, and I think he has a draw that can probably.
He's going to need to ping, but if he does ping, he could easily lead around again.
Yeah, he could because now all of a sudden, from not being sure what to expect, now we are expecting him to pop out and do a 280 or something or something close to it. So that's where he's come to. Whatever happens from here, like there's no shame in any of the last 12 greyhounds getting knocked out at this stage, because it is that hot and it is that tight, and any little miss kick or any little mistake will probably send you out of the competition. So I mean, to get him back into this sort of consistency and doing the 29, 64, 74, 86, 3 great runs in a row, and who's to say we know he's capable of even better than that on the clocks. So I mean, it's a fabulous training performance. It really is.
Yeah, Joe, he's always been a talented greyhound. You're a great man for the clocks. He's done a 289 in the opening round, but since then he's done a 278 and a 281. That'll see a lead up in most races.
Yeah, and also key to this was the 529. We're also look at the first split, as you said, the 281, but 529 he did when he won in 29.64 in the second round. Yeah. 529 is as good as early split as you'd see, but also not only that, coming home in 12.27 is very, very strong move, and starting is strong. I think Weekend Dream is ticking a lot of boxes. Remember his first run in Tralee, 28-13 victory, went on to win the Jewel Bell Classic. He's always been a star. And to be able to start like that, 5.29 and come home in 12.27 and be trained by Pat Guilfoyle, he's taken a lot of boxes. I can remember Guilfoyle winning the Ledger in 2015 with Skywalker Rory. That was a fantastic night. And Weekend Dream, I think he's around 7-1 at the moment. I wouldn't be putting anyone off having a strong few win now.
He's also in a situation where, like, I'm sure he's probably had a few spins around Limerick that, Pat Guilfoyle is not certainly brings plenty of dogs to Limerick for unofficials and whatnot, but his only official line of form at Limerick prior to the Ledger was an 1856 sprint, which is really moving. That was back in July. And now he's 3 starts in Limerick, 3 victories. And until he suffers defeat in Limerick, it's safe to say he likes the place.
Yeah, definitely. You can be sure he's been around more than what his car suggests. I'm sure no one tackle file there, but he's ticking all the boxes. I was actually chatting to his owner this morning, Lars Weekender, and I was asking him, was he going to Limerick? His wife is having surgery on Thursday. So hopefully all that goes well, and hopefully we'll see them in Limerick perhaps for the final.
We wish Anisha the very best. Great enthusiasts. I remember they were at Shelburne Park. They were there at the roadshow, of course, at Shelburne Park. Lars, Anita, and I think his brother and wife were there also. I think they're hoping to be at the roadshow this year. Touch wood. They'll have a reason to be there and to cheer on Weekend Dream in the final. But he has a semi-final to negotiate, but he's still there. In behind him, Kilcolgan's who is running well for Niels O'Connell and Karen Gagan. That's a victory last week and a second place finish on Saturday night. Karen is a real enthusiast. She loves her greyhounds, not just as racers, but just the way you saw her with her retired greyhounds at Shelburne Park on Friday night. She just absolutely loves the breed. And midfield Dino running very well for Rachel Wheeler, a real strong runner. Glanced at the card at the third bend, looking at what Beach Avenue had to pick up, Tommy. Saw midfield Dino in front of him and you went, Beach Avenue is gone, because this fellow has been absolutely hammering home. He a big run behind Balnabola Ed in the opening round, and last week was staying on stoutly behind the aforementioned Kilcolgan Zua. So he wasn't going to be picked up when he was third.
No, and I tell you, I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago too about Kilcolgan Zeus. There had been word that he might be one of the fastest in the kennel, and just things hadn't been going right from. We can see that his quality is there. I mean, connections know what they're talking about when they say something like that. So, Kilcolgan Zeus has shown that now a midfield Dino is a powerful runner. It's just a shame what happened at the first bend, that sort of trouble. And as you say, Beach Avenue has. He doesn't know anybody, Anthony, this stage of his career. He's been a fabulous dog to follow over the last few years. He really has.
Three big names went out. Deadly Showtime, Bucko's Buds at Beach Avenue. The same could be said for Heat 2. In fact, the biggest name of all, perhaps, went out, Balnabola Ed. We've seen this elimination before, I'm afraid, Tommy. Missed a kick, raced into the bend, found traffic, and just didn't happen for him thereafter. Just never really strode out. Just didn't looked a bit wary of himself into the third bend. Just didn't seem happy.
Yeah, I don't know, in the sense that expect him to break a little bit better. He kind of put himself on the back foot straight away, got a bit of trouble at the bend, was still okay position, I thought, going towards the third bend. I thought, you know what, you'll sneak through and that'll be enough. And then just got not so much trouble, but kind of held up a bit down the third bend, and it was just enough to kind of put him out of the competition. It's a shame, because a dog of his quality is always an asset in the competition. But like, you have to take nothing away from Bobsleigh Dream. My God, the pace she has is quite serious.
It's pretty frightening. Like Trinity Junior and Bucko's Crystal disputed into the corner. Trinity Junior just edged off, bumped Bucko's Crystal. All of a sudden, Bobsleigh Dream finds herself second. And, you know, the world and his mother knew that Bobsleigh Dream was going to pick him up because she's so immensely strong. I suppose some consolation for Pat Buckley that his other runner in the contest, Bobsleigh Dream, won it. And she's a massive player in this ledger, Joe, considering the absolute pure brute power and pace she has.
Yeah, absolutely. She's powerful, isn't she? Like, to pick up the way she did from the third bend and drive on home was phenomenal. Got that lovely run around the rail. How will she fare from the draw the next night remains to be seen. But yeah, when she's coming from Pat Buckley's kennel, of course, won the ledger twice before. She has it all, and I think she's probably gone into 9-2. I seen this morning, and worthy of it.
Is she in each way better? Nothing at 9-2. Like, is she guaranteed to be in the final? I know she has a tricky draw the next night, but if she does get to the final, like, it's going to be very hard to keep her out of the frame, just given the way she runs and the power she has.
I think we learned from last Saturday night. There's no guarantees in this game, but she's pretty damn close. She's pretty damn close. She's phenomenal. Do you remember her breaking the track record in Tralee over the 570 at the time? She's phenomenal and runs the track really, really well. And
you're one for the clocks. Trinity Junior was doing 17:33. She was about a length behind him at that point, so I'm making about a 17:44. So she's doing just over 12 seconds home, about 12:03, 12:04.
Yeah, 17:33. Yeah, around about that, and that's probably up there with one of the strongest staying splits coming home.
Yeah, I think she did 11. I think she did 11.99 the first round. It wasn't. She's the one that absolutely hammered home in the first round. Tommy, was it her, or I'll not be back?
I'll not be back. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You know.
In behind, Bobsleigh Dream won. Trinity Junior, I think he's running well. It was strange what happened to him on the corner the other night, but he went round in front. Okay, Bobsleigh Dream's behind him. He's beaten 4 lengths in 29.44, so he's doing 29.72. But he's still a big player, given the fact that he has that early speed, Joe.
Yeah, massive early player. We saw his prominence in Shelburne Park when we won that one race. 28.34, 28.32, phenomenal. Showed how much of a powerhouse he was from early on in his career. And, definitely has that early pace. It just remains to be seen if it has a drive on to, you really need to be staying very, very strong around Limerick to win a ledger. Coming home in 12.34. I had him in the first round. Remember, he was just picked up by Droopy's Edison there in the first round. But isn't overly raced, and should definitely have the potential to be knocking links off that staying time. But will definitely need to be staying strong and improving on that staying this weekend and the following weekend if he's to get to the final to really win a ledger, because you really, really need that coming home.
Tommy, he'll need to be doing everything right the next night, obviously enough, given the fact that his Bucko's Crystal up his inside, Mustang Jet is outside, and then surrounded by strong runners, midfield Dino, Bobsleigh Dream. Of course, Drombeg 10 is another one that can challenge him in the early yards because he's a pretty natural starter. But if Trinity Junior slipped around in front, he's likely to make a final, perhaps. You could see an argument that he could go around the corner in front in the final if things go his way.
I struggle to see him leading next week because of Bacchus Crystal in trap 1. You were right, sorry, and it was Bobsled Dream at 11.99 in the first round. I struggle to see him leading around, but like he's lightly raced. No say he can't improve. He has a 28.11 has he in Shelburne Park actually. Yeah,
that form doesn't rate too bad. Raha Mofo in behind him, 28.11, a juvenile derby first round. Like it was pretty hot.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think I think he can probably improve. It is what Joe says. It's about that little bit extra stamina needed. Just stay home, because this is the problem here is that with the draw. I don't know if we want to really be focusing on the semi-finals already, but like
let's go to semi-finals in a few minutes. But go ahead. Yeah, Bacchus Crystal is the problem. She's the flying
and Mustang Jet is as well, because Mustang Jet has phenomenal pace into the bend, more so than out of traps into the bend, and cuts across a bit and whatever else. So if you got Bacchus Crystal up in trap 1 and you got Mustang Jet in 6, you need to do everything right. I just will have a small bit of concern about the draw for him now next week, to be honest.
Yeah, Bacchus Crystal was third. She was very unlucky, and yes, she was a bit lucky. She was disputing it into the opening corner, got balked. She finds herself fourth down the backstreet because Magical Mary gets by her. Magical Mary inexplicably checked up badly at the third bend. For a moment or two, I thought her action was after going, but she seemed to gallop on into the escape. It was a strange incident. Oakfront Cadet was staying on. Balnabola Ed was struggling, I'm afraid, at that point. But Bacchus Crystal took her chance. She qualifies by a half length. If you're going to be winning a classic like this, so often there is that one run where you ride your little bit of luck and things go your way, Joe.
Yeah, I've seen it so many times. You've seen the past dogs, but you just need that stride of luck. You do, dogs that have the talent, but the margins are so tight in this game. You always see dogs who get to the final, dogs win competitions. Just that bit of stroke of luck when they need it. And Bacchus Crystal was under a small bit of pressure, but Oakfront to get it was flying home, which was kind of surprising. But Bacchus Crystal, she's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, her performance is up in Shelburne Park, the way she stays. I mean, 32.07 for the distance in Shelburne. She is phenomenal. And to be fair, she was perfect the first 2 rounds. Just encountered a bit of traffic on the first spin the last night, but yeah, you wouldn't falter with that. In 2.85 in the second round, plenty early pace, plenty staying power, plenty of reasons why she's going to be banged there at the business end of things.
You've never hidden your admiration of her, Tommy. Bacchus Crystal, she's running extremely well. We've been talking a lot about her in recent weeks, and in fact 2 or 3 months at this stage. She's just one of those professionals. She goes up strong, she stays well, she knows what the game is about. At this point, if all 12 runners were the exact same price, given her draw in trap 1 in the semi-finals, is she the one you'd be likely to back?
Yeah, she is, because she was so good in the final in Dublin. When she needed to be, she did everything right. When there were some classy bitches up against her, and she didn't. When they found a little bit of trouble, yet again, she did things right. I think we talk about, like, she was lucky to kind of stay on, to get up by half a length. But at the same time, if you give her that half a length at the first bench, she gets around in front and wins alone. She's literally, I think she was accelerating into the bench. She could have crossed a little bit. Trinity Junior might have come out a little bit. She could have crossed a bit. I think she was just accelerating and just about to take command when she got the trouble. So I'm kind of, you'd be glad that she qualified through, because she is classy. And then I think the draw is very, very good on Saturday night. So I would say if I had to pick one of them now, I'd pick her. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. We'll move on to Heat 3.
She does step out a small bit from.
She will,
not an awful lot, but just.
But on the corner, she'll keep her true line. She'll step back in if she has to on the opening corner. I'd say she's the type that'll generally run straight from sort of basically any box. She's not one I've always said would dive left or dive right. Again, all she has to do is box. If she traps level, she's in the final.
But she got midfield Dino in 2, which is a help as well.
Yeah, big help. We'll move on to Heat 3. We won't waste too much time on this because it was traffic marred, and in the end the form sort of, it's hard to stack it up a bit. Vincenzo flashed out, led into the corner, but Mustang Jet joined them. The two of them bumped a couple of times. Vincenzo took that terrible fall. Gaston Picas got distracted off the second bend while all this was happening, and he turned to see what was going on, and he didn't finish, but he's fine. Plenty happening after that. Mustang Jet finds himself in front. needed to get to the front because in behind Ballymacwhisper came from out of the clouds. She looked dead and buried. You couldn't see her on the screen down the back straight. It was Drumbeg 10 in second with I'll Not Be Back in third. You would have expected I'll Not Be Back to come through and grab second, and then all of a sudden Ballymacwhisper appeared from out of the clouds, came weaving through. She's only beaten a length. I'd say that length was covered in 2 strides after the line. She's in front. She's just an immensely fast lady, but Mustang Jet did everything right. There were 1 or 2 suggestions that he might have just been coming over, getting out of a touch of the cough or something like that. So he's entitled to improve for the run. It was a messy affair. I'll Not Be Back. Disappointed perhaps not to qualify, but you mentioned it earlier on, Joe. Evan McAuliffe qualifying with Drumbeg 10, 16 years old. He spent some time down at Pat Guilfoyle. It clearly rubbed off.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And, you know, I was chatting to his dad today at Fergal. He gave me lots of information about the dog and the story. It's phenomenal. I mean, at 16 years of age, he bought the brother and sister off the Grange man, Michael Hogan. And I mean, and this little sister is in an A2 final, Limerick on Saturday night as well, the Hayes Fergal final. And to have a little sister in the final of that and to be in the semi-final of Ledger is fairy tale stuff. It really is. And it's real family affair. You know, the dad was telling me he does the driving and Evan does the training, and it's real family fairness.
He's no option. He's no option but to do the driving. He can't drive till next year.
But it's the beauty of our sport, you know. These are the kind of stories that are so prevalent around the country that we need to get out there and show the masses. These are family affairs. You know, Evan will be in school all week. He's a transition year student in Kilmallock, but he'll be dreaming about the Ledger, I'm sure, all week. It's recalling my own school days when I used to spend days in the classroom dreaming of winning a Ledger, winning a Derby. But it's
when you consider there's certain people in certain positions of government and whatnot trying to get kids out of the game, you know, and like I'm sure Evan is out in the roads walking the dog every day, getting fresh air, spends most of his time looking after his dogs rather than sitting in front of a PlayStation or, you know, up to mischief or whatnot. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Listen, fair play to him. He's still there because he looked under serious pressure at the third bend, but he dug in to score. But it was Mustang Jet, Tommy, who got to the front. We have been saying it. I suggested last week on RPG TV, I didn't think he'd move in as much as he would if there was dogs in his inside. He really did move in on top of Vincenzo. That's what he does. He goes up strongly and straight from 6, but then cuts that opening corner. And that very maneuver is both... It really works in his favor some nights, and other nights it's a case of, close your eyes. Mustang Jet is there. He's a wide seed, so he will be in trap 6 from here on in. He ran well to get around the opening corner. Ballymacwhisper second, Drumbeg 10 third.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with Mustang Jet. He actually has a decent-ish draw on thing, but I think we said early in the Derby that he probably would struggle because he wasn't breaking. It's the same thing again. It's 282 the other night was a bit better, but Vincenzo kind of outpointed him early. It was just that the pace he had into the bend was just phenomenal, and to get up and kind of get across. It was unfortunate Vincenzo exited the way he did, but Mustang Jet has that kind of pace, which makes him a danger. It makes him a concern for the likes of Bobsleigh Dream next Saturday night now, because he'll probably outbreak her and then lead her into the bend, and she's going to have a bit of work to do when deciding whether she goes inside or outside or whatever she's going to have to do. But like, he's a seriously fast dog, and yes, I don't think we've seen the very best of him in the sense of getting out of traps, and it only has to happen one night with a dog like this, and all of a sudden he could be gone. He could get into a final and be a decent price and just time it right and be away from everything else, and all of a sudden the race is over. Yeah, he does pose a bit of a problem for all the dogs drawn closest to him, because he is going to cut in. I know you said that you thought that he might know there's dogs inside him. It's just his nature, just the way he races the bend, and that's it.
It's simple as that. That's his racing line. That's his racing line. Ballymacwhisper, discuss.
Oh my God.
It's a long time ago since I told you I thought she'd had a big chance getting to a Laurels decider.
Nah, she was lucky. I mean, she's bobbing and weaving. I know the time of 29.99, and there were reasons for it and all that sort of malarkey, but like she's good to watch, isn't she?
Oh, she's just a joy to watch.
If you have if you yes, I know if your connections of I'll Not Be Back and be disappointed didn't qualify, they might have got past Drumbeg 10 down to the third bend and stayed on, and we know she has stamina. I'll Not Be Back, but like, you're a bit unfortunate when it's Ballymacwhisp is starting to bear down on you from the back. You're going, oh no, I know I won't be beating that one, so I might hopefully I can beat Drumbeg 10 and get into the next round. But I don't know. I even watched that race a few times from the other night. And how she's even bobbing and weaving and checking in and out and flying home and
at that speed, to be doing the maneuvers she's doing, it just seems unnatural. You know,
it almost seems seamless. Like it's not even checking stride. It's just, she's just doing it. Like she's saying, well, like I'm in full stride now and I'm going for it. I know where I'm going, but I have to I might have to bob and weave, but I know where I'm going. So if you know that, you're not checking stride and things like that. It's ridiculous stuff to watch. It's a joy to watch.
I'd love to see herself and Crafty Kokoro enter the back straight and sort of side by side in fourth spot in the race in Shelburne Park and see how they work it out from there.
Who would your money be on, Fortune?
Well, that's you have to pay your entrance fee. You'll find out. Joe,
you're getting careful. You're not giving too much away.
You know yourself. But you never know. I'm making a pup from each. Ballymacwhisp. She's some machine, Joe.
Yeah, and her trainer has won 2 out of the last 3 ledgers, so he'll be going for 3 out of 4 and massive engine. But I just query, can you win a ledger doing splits of 298 or 3 seconds, which she's doing? Maybe with a clear pass.
I'll tell you what, she very nearly won a Laurels doing it, and you would have said Laurels is more of a speed test than Limerick.
Definitely more of a speed test than Limerick, yeah. But it's greyhounds like her and Crafty Kokoro that makes it exciting. See that pass finishes is just joy to watch. But massive engine, and excited to see her in action on Saturday.
Yeah, and Drumbeg 10, who we've already mentioned for Evan McAuliffe, has made it through to the semi-finals of the Ledger, and I'd say Evan is pinching himself, Tommy.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great story, and we'll talk about the semi-finals in a minute, but it is a great story, and it's some performance. It's some performance to be fair to fend off while not be back. I mean, you said you would have
this is the Curraheen Park track record holder on his tail into the third bend.
Just on the outside, you think it's just going to sweep by you now, and you might be looking behind, going, "Oh no, Ballymacwhisp was there, so I'm in trouble now." And to stay on the way it did, it was a serious performance. In fairness,
Joe, I didn't do my homework, but I'm assuming Blastoff Khaleesi would be closely enough related to the Blastoff dog that won the Ledger 3-4 years ago.
Blastoff Khaleesi comes from the Philip Buckley line.
Yeah,
she was out. Blastoff Sally. There's a lot of Blastoffs now.
Yeah, was his Ledger winner by Blastoff Sally? Out of Blastoff Sally? I'm not sure. Do you know what? Let's leave it with me. We'll see what we can do while you two boys are talking rubbish. We'll move on to the final heat. Sorry, just absolutely blasted by 2 guests in one go there. On to heat 4. Tommy's used to it.
It's not like you, Fortune.
No, it isn't like me. Ballymac run, Tommy. No. This lady. She was thrown in the deep end earlier in her career, and there was nights where she got away with it, there was nights where she didn't get away with it, but she has really sort of found her feet in recent weeks. A real confidence builder in the Puppy Oaks, away and gone both nights in that competition to win in 28-17 the final, following a 28-11 run the semi-finals. And here she is, rocked up to Limerick 29-51 to the opening round. Didn't quite happen for her from trap 4 last week, but in trap 3 the other evening she made a good start again. Just contained Romeo Magico into the opening corner, and once doing so, that was that 29-49, 4.5 length success. A brilliant display by Ballymac Run, Tommy.
It was brilliant because she had to be really determined to fend off Romeo Magico, who actually broke, very well by his standards, looked almost certain to drive up along the inside, held her line particularly well, really drove that bend. And it's a sign of a dog in form or bitch in form. When we talk about the Galway Oaks, we'll be saying the same thing about Raha Mofo. It kind of reminds me of that, in such rude health that it doesn't matter what's happening up around it. It's just going to drive on and mind its own business and do everything it can to get around in front. This was powerful because even though Magico got checked up or whatever at that point, or a little bit held up, Ballymac Run was powering to the line, absolutely flying. I know the sectionals. I'm not sure what the sectional was, to be honest about it. Joe will tell us in a minute, but it looked strong to me. I think it had. She's actually favourite. She's clear favourite, joint favourite in some books. I think she's clear favourite in maybe 1 or 2 books for outright honours now.
Yeah.
539 was her split, her early split, and 12:20 coming home. 12:20 coming home is very, very strong. 539 and 285 as well. She was doing so. ticking all the boxes on the split side of things to be a ledger winner anyway, for sure.
Romeo Magico was second the English Derby champion. Tommy, he had faded quite notably in the previous round, held on by a short head from Buckles Budset. On this occasion, he missed a kick, did pace up into the corner, didn't get to the front. The fact that he's beaten 4.5 in 29.49, he's gone a length faster than last week. It was very much a step up, despite the fact that he was beaten. I thought it was a step up in last week's form, whereas, you know, you can make excuses on Saturday night, whereas the previous week you were sort of left scratching your head. He's now back as a major player.
He's the type of dog, to me, that if you back him to win a competition, you've got to kind of close your eyes a bit and hope that he gets to the final, and then he's a real danger. Because after last week's run, I was mad keen to oppose him the other night. I just picked the wrong one. And I wasn't bowled over by the run the other night. I think I'd still be keen enough to oppose him on Saturday night. It's not to say that all he has to do is qualify, and you know, I'd say that as if it's a simple task. It's definitely not. He has quite a tricky draw. I just would be keen, and regardless of how bad the draw is, I would be keen to take him on again. I don't know that he should have been beaten 4.5 lengths after. Yes, he got slightly checked up, but he didn't get really bad trouble. And I tell you, the Anna Bailey, who finished third, ran a phenomenal race. Found all sorts of trouble out of traps in at the first bend, showing savage pace into the bend actually, and I think it was a step up from what I've seen from Anna Bailey before. I know it's always shown real promise, but I think this was a massive step up. I thought Anna Bailey ran a huge race.
And two semi-finalists now for Rachel Wheeler, Joe. Anna Bailey is a dog, you'd have been watching these back. He's a dog we've referenced a few times, be it in the Derby or in the early rounds of the Ledger. We're just waiting for that massive run, you know, and it was a big run the other night from him, but there is a massive run in this dog because he's not devoid of early speed. He just has to get that ping. And if he gets the ping, as Tommy alluded to earlier on, you only need it once in this competition. He's still a player. Obviously, he'll need to do things right on Saturday night, but still a player.
Massive player. Rachel Wheeler is a talented trainer. You know, she has classic success before within the Laurels down in Cork. And this one is for local owners as well. The stack pools of a taste. So this will mean a lot to them to be in the Ledger semi-final and even maybe a Ledger final next week. Yeah. Has the clock done at 29.64 and 28.34 done, so definitely isn't short of that pace. And as you said, is kind of one, you know, sometimes you come to these semi-final stages and one just, I won't say come out of the woodwork, but everything goes right for him on the night and does a run. So definitely has a big shout. And as I said, Rachel Wheeler is a talented trainer. And it's great to see all the local interest. There's plenty of local interest in the Ledger at this stage, which I won't say we're not used to, but it's nice to see all the local dogs. I'm not a bit biased or anything.
Yeah, you're used to it, all right. Have no fear, Jane. Mac, you've been patting yourselves in the back down there for a while. You know, would you give up on All Ireland hurling success now this year to have a local winner of the Ledger?
Oh, we can never give up the All Ireland.
Oh, I tell you what, he paused, Tommy. He did pause now, didn't he?
He did pause.
No question about it. Right, let's look at the semi-finals just before we go in. Drumbeg 10 is out of Blastoff Khaleesi, who happens to be a half sister to Blastoff Annie, who was the dam of Blastoff Jet, the Ledger champion. So we got there. I was a little bit distracted for a minute, but we got there. We found out that there is a close relation there. So yeah, who knows?
What did we say about announce the breeding name? Do you remember my saying?
Oh, sweet Lord, we've heard it 55 times at this stage. Tommy Lyons, let's look at these semi-finals. Two wonderful heats to look forward to. The opening heat, Bockles Crystal, Midfield Dino, Trinity Junior, Drumbeg 10, Bobsleigh Dream and Mustang Jet. Much will depend on how the opening bend goes. Bockles Crystal is probably the best in best position to take advantage. Trinity Junior will need to ping, so will Drumbeg 10. Mustang Jet will probably need to get around. Otherwise, Midfield Dino and Bobsleigh Dream are going to be finishing very fast. Hard how to see Bobsleigh Dream doesn't qualify. Probably better off for her if she misses it a beat.
Yeah, yes, because of a phenomenal pace, but she's going to need a little bit of luck in running, I think. I think you can almost set your clock by Mustang Jet. We know what he's going to do. He's not going to absolutely ping the lids, but he's not going to be a low for either. He's going to show a phenomenal pace. He's going to go up, pull across. Trinity Junior might there is a concern that Trinity Junior will be the meat and the sandwich on Saturday night, because Bacchus Crystal can go up really well. She might move off a tiny bit. I wouldn't be concerned about it, particularly with midfield Dino in 2. I think we've seen, and this is always important when you come to the latter stage of stakes, we've seen that she can do it in stakes, semi-finals and finals. Bacchus Crystal, she can produce it on the night. She can hold her form over the course of a competition. She has been in great form. She's been first or second 17 times in 20 runs, is it?
And third in one more occasion. So only out of the frame twice.
Yeah, I think if I was looking at that and connection to that, I'd say I couldn't ask for any more, to be honest about it. Because if she was out in 4, or she was drawn out maybe middle 3 or 4, I'd be small concerned the Mustang Jet would get to her. They might bump or meet.
She's also at the mercy of what dogs are on her inside. Whereas there's nothing on her inside here. She's leading up midfield Dino. 99 times of 100 she's leading up midfield Dino, and then it's just a case of just minding herself on the opening corner, and she turns in a qualifying position, if not in front, and that's enough.
She's a 70-pound bitch. It's not like she's going to be bullied or anything like that. You know what I mean? If there's a little bit of bumping, and she's in prime position to hold her line, so I'd be quite confident that she'll be extremely hard to beat. Now, obviously, if there was a bump between her, a kind of a hefty bump, nothing that would knock them out of the competition around, but if there was a hefty bump between herself and Mustang Jet, it might open up for the likes of Bobsleigh Dream or midfield Dino or something to kind of come and make a telling move maybe late on. But I think I'd find it hard to oppose her Saturday night.
Yeah, Joe, what's your take on the race?
I'd say I'd strongly Bacchus Crystal. I think from that draw, the split she's done, she's been very, very consistent. I mean, she's won 10 from 20, very good strike rate, and she's very, very strong contender in that race. I'd probably fancy to win it. Mustang Jet, I really, really like. As Tommy said, not the one to do 29.40 or 29.30 kind of runs yet, but has 28.03 done in Shelbourne Park. And if he can do the equivalent of that form over the 550 trip in Limerick, that's Mustang Jet is a big player here. And look at the kennel he's coming out of the lowest route. Where else would you want him to be? Has 2 Ledger victories to her name. Bobsleigh Dream is obviously mighty. I mean, Pat Buckley as well, he knows how to win a Ledger too. It's very, very tight, and that's, as I said a while ago, that's the beauty of this Ledger. It's a very, very tight Ledger. The margins are very, very small. But to qualify, I would say Bacchus Crystal, Bobsleigh Dream, and Mustang Jet. I'm not going to mask it. I hope Drumbeg 10 qualifies. I really, really do. I mean, it's a phenomenal story, and that's what we need to see and get out of there in the Greyhound racing game. But yeah, they'll probably be my 3 to qualify. Trinity Junior, I think, has massive early pace and is a player, but just vulnerable to the stronger staying types, the likes of Bobsleigh Dream and maybe even Mustang Jet, but they'd be my 3 to qualify. But it's very, very tough heat. The margin's so small.
What about yourself, Tommy? Same three to qualify, or you seen anything else?
I tell you, I've something. One of the bigger names in this is definitely going to go out. Like, I find it hard to see the 156 all getting a clear enough run that they'll all qualify. If Trinity Junior breaks to the best of his ability, he could potentially be a stumbling block to Mustang Jet. So I don't think it's quite straightforward. It would be nice, as Joe said, for Drumbeg 10 to qualify. And he is a smashing dog. Like, he's 23 times in the frame from 27 runs.
Yeah, he's going to need that 279.
He has 414 in the 525 race, he's 414. Yeah. If he does, and he has 279, I mean, he's not there to make up the numbers.
Certainly not. And he's a very natural starter. Like, his prices the last week and the previous week just don't reflect his chance. Now, that said, they would certainly have changed the draw. They'd have loved to have been inside maybe Trinity Junior, and I'd say they'd have taken 1 all day in this contest. But you know yourself, if you take a flyer. Tommy, give me your 3 though. I'm holding you to this now.
You hold me to this. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's take a chance on. We'll go 1, 2, 5.
1, 2, 5. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 3, 5.
We're almost trying to get out.
Yeah, I think there might be just. I think if he's denied the early lead, I think he's going to be in trouble with the likes of Bobsleigh Dream in behind him. Do you know?
Yeah, and yes, and the funny thing is he could win the competition.
Yeah, and that's true. You know, he's a true wide seed out. Well, he's not a true wide. He's a true wide seed into the corner, not at the corner, but he is a wide seed. And like in all truth, he's probably guaranteed a clear run into the bend because Bobsleigh Dream. Well, you know, she can make a decent start. She is going to edge inwards, but no, it's going to be very hard to keep Mustang. It's going to be very hard to get around the likes of Trinity Junior and Bacchus Crystal, and that's where the race is going to be won and lost. On to the second heat. Ballymac Run is in 1, Romeo Magico 2, Weekend Dream in 3, Ballymac Whisper, Kilcolgan Zeus, and Anna Bailey. We'll let Tommy start with this one.
I have my 3 for this one. I'll give them to you in a minute, but this inside battle is fairly important. Like you said about Bobsleigh Dream that if she missed a kick slightly, it'd probably help her. It might help Romeo Magico too.
Yeah.
If you just ever so slightly miss it. I know I'm only talking half a length or a length that he might be tucked in behind them because Ballymac Run, you'd almost guarantee will pop out.
Does she take a step right from in there? Does she?
Yeah, she little bit. She has a good record from Trap 1, but she'll like her early sectional isn't phenomenal. 285s and whatever else. And I think did you say Joe 539 was it last week?
539 and 539 and 544 the week previous to that. So it's not bad, but it's not exceptional either.
We Can Dream. He said did a 529 on November 19th.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, 529 and 1227.
Yeah, like this isn't straightforward. This could be very tricky for Romeo Magico now, where he's drawn. I like I say, I was keen to oppose him anyway because I wasn't impressed with his run when Bacchus Budsy pushed him to short head because he should have won probably. Well, in my head, he should have won 4 or 5 lengths from where he was down the back. Ballymac Run has a great draw. I wouldn't say it's a 101 to win the heat, but she has a great draw. If she can prevent Romeo Magico getting by her to the first bend, and that's what I imagine she can do again, she will be hard to beat. We Can Dream, we've seen a bit of consistency in him. Will he definitely clear Ballymac Run? If he does, is she in trouble? This is desperately tricky. I actually think that I'm going to take a chance that Ballymac Run does hold Romeo Magico early, and that We Can Dream might not just get across Ballymac Run that handily. I'm going to take a chance on 146. I think there's a huge run in Anna Bailey. I was fierce impressed with the determination Anna Bailey showed into the bend after getting trouble early the last night, and trouble again at the first bend, and to run on strongly and to hold third place. I'm going to take a chance that Anna Bailey gets into the final. So I'm going to go with 1, 4, and 6. Ballymac Whisper, I don't know what you have to do to keep her out of the competition now.
yeah, it's it's going to need a bit of a bomb to keep her out. Joe, it's a fascinating affair. I have to tell you, I'm glad I don't have to pick the winner of it. I just wonder, will Ballymac Run trap well enough from Trap 1 to get the corner? I'm not sure she will. But you know, I've been wrong hundreds of times in this podcast before, and I'll certainly be wrong hundreds of times more. I just have a feeling that Romeo Magico, there was talk of maybe a touch of the cough as well with him. If he comes out of the gloom, if you look back to that run in Cork, it was stunning, that 29-28 run on Laurel's final night. I think there's another big run in him. I'm going to take a chance that he sort of gets run early on the inside, despite the fact that he's flanked by 2 good starters. I just think he's such a classy animal when things are right with him. I'm going to take a chance on Romeo Magico on the inside. Ballymac Wisp, I think, will qualify. And then after that, I think it's a real battle. I think if We Can Dream is denied the early lead, maybe Ballymac Run might qualify around a Bailey, but I'm certainly between Romeo Magico and Ballymac Whisper, taking a chance that Romeo Magico does just a slightly better start. What about yourself?
It's very much worth mentioning, as you said, Ian, about Romeo Magico. He won in Cork in 29-48. 2 weeks before, and went around 2 weeks before that, went around in 27-98 for a try.
27-88. Will you stop adding and taking away? Like that's only a grading tool. The time is what's on the clock.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? But like, doing 29.80 and 29.88 with a clear run does not add up to those runs. He's clearly not at his very, very best. There's more in him. Do you remember the night he did 28.18 in Limerick? It was the time we were doing the Talking Dogs TV.
It was about his third or fourth start. He just looks an absolute monster at that stage. Yeah, Graham Holland always described him in his first year as an absolute just a head the ball, just a dog that just was immature, sort of like a wild child. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you can relate to that, Joe.
Absolutely. I can remember the week after he'd done that 28.18 run, I remember ringing my brother saying, have what you wanted, he was going to win. And then he just didn't put it all together on the night. And is he just that kind of a dog, a bit of a character like yourself? I don't think he's at his best the last couple of weeks. As maybe a touch of the cough is affecting, hindering his performance. If we see the real true Romeo Magico, very, very hard to stop. I'd probably side with Weekend Dream, who's been very, very consistent the last couple of weeks. His splits have been consistent. I think he's with the right kennel. I'd probably side with him. Ballymac run, massive chance from the inside at draw as well. I see all the action coming from. While I see all the action coming from the inside, that's not to say Anna Bailey doesn't come with a massive run, but probably see most of the prominent figures in this one coming from the inside. And Neilus O'Connell, he's another sharp trainer, another local Limerick man, so it'd be great to see him in the mix as well with Kilcoll and Zeus for Karen Gagan as well. So
it's like being on a podcast, Tommy, with the Limerick version of Barry Drake, isn't it?
Yeah. I just looking. Sorry, while Joe was talking, I'm looking to see if I could get the prices anywhere. Right, the anti-pause prices. I do find it hard to believe that Ballymac Whisper is 16-1.
She's not, is she?
That's what I'm looking at here now, and there are only 12 in the list.
Okay. Right. Charge!
Yeah. I thought the station should win it, and Joe made the point that it is difficult to win, to win a ledger from. Yeah, but like, still 16-1 is a bit might be a little bit too much now. It might too much to let me. I haven't had a betting ledger so far, but this might be my first one.
Counterintuitively, if you do backer, you're hoping for the 5 sort of fastest early pacers to go through rather than any of the strong runners. They might just get in away early. Whereas if she gets the chance to pick them off, and with a view that all the early pacers can't go around in front, she's going to be certainly making the frame. You'd imagine in those circumstances. Joe, we never got your 1, 2, 3.
There's a lot of early pace in the inside. So if there is a bit of traffic amongst the 1, 2, and 3, Ballymac Whisper could well get a bit of a passage on the outside, and who knows could pick them off. So at 16-1, if she gets to the final at 16-1, you're getting 4-1 each way kind of odds. I mean, it's definitely, I wouldn't put anyone off back in that. I'd go with Weekend Dream just because of consistency. If we can see the Romeo Magico that won that night in Cork with the 29.28 and the 27.88 trial.
Yeah, not to mention, you do know he has won an English Derby, yeah.
Yeah, well, that as well. And obviously knows Limerick track very well. Ran here last year in the Kirby. He did 28.40 one of the early rounds and then came out the week after that in 28.80. Like, he's a phenomenal greyhound, just a bit of a character. But I say he's a character, but he still has 16 races, 1 out of 44. I mean, that's a great strike rate too. But yeah, I'd probably go Weekend Dream, Ballymac Run, and I'm going to say Ballymac Whisper. Just because I don't think Romeo Magico has been at his best the last couple of weeks, but probably end up looking a fool at
3-1-4.
3-1-4, and I'd love to see Neely qualifying as well, and of course Anna Bailey, because for the Atea Limerick owners, so I'd love to see them all qualify.
So both of us, all 3 of us, have we? Yeah, all 3 of us have decided that there's going to be 4 bitches in the final, which, as Tommy said at the very top of the show, would not be a surprise. Wonderful ledger, loads to look forward to. Of course, the road show will be rolling into town December 6th. Myself and the Exile Dub will be there. Funnily enough, the Limerick man won't be there. Tommy, he didn't bring his flights forward. He's not coming over to us. I'm sure he'll be tuning in on the night or trying to get all the information via live texts or whatnot. I
might appear on the video. Yes, you never know.
God, I might veto that. Great final to look, or a great semi-finals to look forward to on Saturday night. Let's get around the place a bit. Shelburne Park on Saturday night, Tommy, National Puppy Stake, never fails to deliver. Always a great competition. Only 24 in this year's competition. There was only 24 in the competition 2 years ago, and 3 of the first 4 home were Ballymac Ariel, Billy's Diva, and Explosive Boy. They turned out to be a fairly handy trio. this year's competition is packed with quality. Couple of massive runs from the winners, also a couple of massive runs in the feet. The two heat winners were Romeo Cody, who really drove into the opening corner to get around in front, beating Boyle Sports Vic and Romeo Turbo. And then the second heat went up the style, landing the spoils from where were we? Rathdown Molly and Ballymac John Joe. 6 quality performers left in the final. The opening heat, Romeo Cody, Tommy, really nice dog from a really fast litter. Obviously, he's a another one for David Firminger and Graham Holland. They're quite a combination. Boyle Sports Vic, though, for me was the eye catcher. I think this dog's a monster. I think he's going to be huge next year, over 550 yards. This is a kind of an amazing heat, and because I think at the third bend you could have thrown a blanket over the 6 of them. That's how good it was. You have to like the way Romeo Cody ran the first couple of bends, because he had the Ballymac Bronze inside him, and he had dogs inside and outside him, and he just just didn't shade him. Didn't shake him at all. He just drove on. Ran a true line the whole way. Didn't try to move in on top of anything, move out. Just kind of drove his line. Knew where his rivals were, and he never really got away from him. He was probably further in front at the line than he was anywhere in the competition, even though Boyle Sports Vic was finishing well. A lot to like about the attitude, and I suspect that the 2863 clock, he obviously has done a lot better, and he will do better in the future. So conditions on the night were a touch strange. Yeah. Track was much quicker earlier in the night. It was like the wind picked up. There was a gale into their face, into the corner and up the home straight. And from the second half onwards, it was much slower than the opening half, which then begs the question, how good was Ballymac Finn? But let's go to the second heat of the National Puppy. Sorry, Joe, did you tune in? Did you see any of the action from Shelburne?
Yeah, do you know what, one of the most interesting things I thought was like the two litter comrades, Unlock having 2 and Fabulous Meal in it. That must be a rare, at this kind of level of competition, to have a semi-final of a stake like this, to have 2 both litter comrades. Yeah, very nice one. I think Romeo Code is a lovely striding greyhound. And seeing all these 2021 whelps and the talented fielders, I'm only thinking about the Conor Kirby.
This is just an absolute. This is the feeder for the Kirby. All of these, every one of them is going to the Kirby, you'd imagine. And you can be absolutely certain Graham Holland and David Firminger will be targeting it anyway. They have about, I think, honestly, there seems to be a 37 in the litter, and they can all run. Boyle Sports Vic in second, Romeo Turbo in third. Lost nothing in defeat, Romeo Turbo, but the Boyle Sports Vic dog is really special. On to the second heat, where up the style, Tommy, the previous week she'd been beaten by her sister Undisputed. She didn't get to the corner on that occasion in front, but she showed tremendous early speed, which she again showed on Saturday night. To get around Rathdown Molly into the corner is no mean feat. This lady is exceptional. She really is exciting, Tommy, up the style. She is a true wide seed for Alan Dobbs, and of course his brother Pat, who's based out your direction for much of the year, Joe. Pat Dobbs, the jockey. Robert Gleason trains.
He's out here at the moment. He's a jockey in Maiden here, only about 10 minutes from me. So yeah, and I was chatting to Alan lately, so it's great to see up the side. Fantastic run, and did so well in Newbridge as well, winning in 28-17. Very nice prospect, and another January 2021, another one for coming down to Limerick to us next March.
Tommy, there's something about her.
There is, and even though she wasn't necessarily pulling away in the straight, there was something really nice about the way she was striding up the straight. It wasn't shortening. She maybe not been lengthening, but she was as good and as strong at the finish as she was throughout the race, I felt. I thought it was a brilliantly professional performance. And it's interesting what you say about the times, because I don't know what to make of them in terms of, that's 28:39. That's probably a sensational run. You think Ballymac Finn did 28:23 in the following race. I mean, that's up there with was as good as you can get nearly. You know
I think you could certainly take 20-25 spots off it. Just were the conditions at that point in the night. In behind up the style, Rathdown Molly didn't get to the front. First time she hasn't got to the front in a couple of starts, but I thought she ran okay. Ballymac John Joe, Liam Dowling, all of a sudden, he loses the services of some of his real stars, and just, Ballymac Run and Ballymac Whisper, and Ballymac John Joe was doing a Ballymac Whisper. He absolutely hammered on Tommy. He was right on top of up the style into the escape.
He looked he looked green as grass, and I wasn't convinced at one stage when he was running in Cork that he was actually a wide seed or a natural wide seed. No, Hayder's inexperience, or he's middle, so was he middle or wide? I think he middle, sorry. I wasn't sure that he was out in trap 6 on Laurel's final night, and he was in an A2, and he just made them look like pedestrian. He did 28-20, winning by the length of the straight almost. I think that pace and ability had been in him. I wasn't sure that he'd show from trap 6. So it's interesting there from trap 1 the other night that he changed the seeding to an inside for this competition. And he is a powerful yoke. He's going to be another one that'll be difficult to back and always dangerous to oppose, because you know when you back something else in the race, you'll be looking behind for Ballymac John Joe. He's just another one of those that coming out that the conveyor belt out of Liam Dowling.
Yeah,
he's
Illusion.
bred to keep improving as well, coming out of Art of Illusion and Droopy's Army. It's a fantastic line, and bred to keep marching on and progressing, and very, very exciting prospect.
His half sister's Ballymac Art, and like she's such a natural starter with early speed and whatnot. And but Ballymac John Joe, I think he's far from the finished article. I just wouldn't be surprised there was an extra yard or two of early speed there to be found, and I think he's very much dog for next year. While they'll be hoping to win the National Puppy Stake, I'd say the Dowlings are pretty confident this fellow will make some waves in 2023. On to the final of the Talking Dogs Open 525, which featured the beaten Derby favourite Callaway Pro-Am, the Derby runner-up Ballymac Finn, Serene Ace, who was fourth in the Laurels, Bogger Hunter, the juvenile Derby finalist, Drubby's Rocker, who in the last 2 or 3 weeks has quickly established himself as one of the country's fastest and all for the best out in 6. Tommy, a real powerhouse who regular at Shelburne Park over the years, and to get him back last week to winning ways was so good. But a really quality final. It wasn't a quality commentary by a certain man here present, because I was calling Ballymac Finn Bogger Hunter all the way around until I copped the home straight. I've asked Racing Post TV to destroy the commentary, never let it be seen again, and I'll hold up my hands and say, just one of those things. Similar enough colours, black and white dogs, and I never even looked at the card. I was just commentating. It was a great contest. Ballymac Finn, Tommy, this was the dog we saw in the latter rounds of the Derby. He looked like he badly needed the run his last 2 starts. This was a much better run from him. Again, has to be up there as one of the dogs to follow closest in 2023.
Like dropping back to 525, you would think that he he wants 550, giving himself, like he's not what you would call a 525 early pacer, but he wants
the 550 run up, no question about that.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's kind of key with him. So to win, and there were points in the race where you thought he's in a lot of trouble, particularly at the first bend where he might have got bumped and sent wide or whatever. A lot of things could have happened, but he showed phenomenal pace. And again, he was another one of those that was striding out so well to the line. It was deeply impressive. And Drubby's Rocker's no mug. Drubby's Rocker let him.
I was shocked how quickly they got to him, because he's run so well the last 2 weeks. I'd put Saturday's run down to just one of those things. Just found himself in a position where Callaway Pro-Am went to challenge off the second bend, went for the gap on the inside. Drubby's Rocker came across him a bit. Just wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's not hard. It's not easy to see in the video. Maybe there was a touch or something, and Ballymac Finn had the momentum on him down the back straight. But he's clearly a very exciting greyhound for the coming months and year. Serene Ace didn't get one of his flying starts. Bogger Hunter, we know how immensely fast he is down the back straight. I actually thought he'd hit the front of the third bend. If you listen to my commentary, and all for the best, but a cracking final. We'll see plenty more from Callaway Pro-Am as well. He was just denied the run at the second bend when he was starting to make a move. Joe, Ballymac Finn, you saw this fellow in the Derby, of course. He's November 20. He won't be going to the Kirby, but you never know. He might appear in the Ledger next year.
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine so. And he's still relatively lightly campaigned. I mean, he's only 18 or 19 odd races. But look at the line, like fantastic run. But look at the line of the dogs. And the race in the Shelburne Park is mouthwatering. Every Saturday night is great credit up there. It's wonderful.
No, we're absolutely spoiled for choice. Yeah, there's no question.
That line, all for the best. What a phenomenal servant he's been to Connection. I think he's gone past 3 now, but like that's staying power. Another very, very exciting dog. I remember seeing him in the Kirby and running in Limerick last year. He's phenomenal greyhound. Serene Ace, Callaway Pro-Am. What was it you were saying about Callaway Pro-Am last week? Was the pile of money's gone on him for the Derby?
Yep, yeah. They priced it up. The Derby sponsors priced it up, and within a matter of hours, his price had collapsed to lose almost a 6-figure sum. I'd imagine it's those involved with the dog that decided let's have a few quid on, because that's obviously going to be the target next year. And yeah, certainly he's beaten favourite this year as a raw youngster. So who's to say he can't improve? Just a length, it would be more than enough. Just elsewhere on the undercard at Sheldon Park, some brilliant performances. But I would just want to mention that it was great to see a 750 last race in the card, €1,000 to the winner, great prize money, and it threw up a tremendous winner in the form of Jack Tavern Bella. As I said to you, the wind was howling, it was awfully hard to get home. Certainly over 750 yards. Hello Hammond was found out a little bit in the conditions, but Jack Tavern Bella stayed every inch of it, and so too did Kalara Zoe, two very bright young prospects for the staying distances. Let's hope they get loads of opportunities next year, because we want to see more opportunities for the stayers. But Jack Tavern Bella, great runner for the Pillar Syndicate, who've put so much good money into the sport over the last few years. Graham Holland, the trainer, and Kalara Zoe from Michael Donnelly and Philip O'Keefe. I'm still amazed she's still in Ireland. I thought this one was an absolute natural for the UK. I'm sure they've turned down plenty of offers for her. Now, we can't finish without mentioning one or two other runs. The gold collar was won by Milridge Dolly on Friday night at Shelburne Park. Not quite the same competition it used to be in the olden days, Tommy, but a good winner. It's great to see Donny O'Mahony coming up from Mill Street to land a big prize. He makes that journey more often than he probably should, and to get a €3,500 prize is nice. Do you know what I mean? No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, he's just coming up he comes up for graded race and open races rather than, okay, he enters the competitions and whatnot. But it's lovely to see a man like that get a nice few quid. Milridge Dolly thoroughly deserving her success. But I want to finish on, well, one of the stars of the year. Raha Mofo was once again sensational at Galway on Friday night. Again, I'm so impressed with Galway track over the last 3-4. It's just a joy to look at racing on the track. Raha Mofo, Tommy, there was a time where we were saying she's just not quite driving that corner. She was just, something in her mind. Well, the other night, she absolutely drove it like a woman on fire. She took charge on the bend and just went about it to complete the most incredible march through the Galway Oaks. Brilliant winner, and a great reception, a great atmosphere down there. Great to see top class racing at Galway.
I tell you what impressed me when I was watching the video of the final. It just screamed to me, there is a bitch on great terms with herself. Absolutely could not be in better form, because whereas she was able to dominate in earlier rounds, she had loads of competition at the first bend the other night, and she just drove it. She literally just, this is mine for the taking, I'm going. And that is a joy to watch. She was as good the other night as she will ever be, because you have to be in the rudest of health, feel good. We had said before, she'd had eat into the bend on a few occasions. It wasn't just once. There was no sign of that in Galway in the previous rounds. And on Saturday night, it was just a special performance. She was 2-5 in a final with top class bitches against her. Like, it wasn't just a walk in the park for her. It wasn't a cakewalk at all. And she had to do things right. But I just thought, God, when I saw it at the bend, I was thinking, what's going to happen here? And next thing, she just drove on. You're going, wow, that's seriously impressive. And that's a bitch in absolutely jumping out through her skin. She's class when she's like that, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Joe, she's trained in Kilkenny, but Marissa Malloy is very much a proud Galway woman. It was a local success. You've mentioned local successes a few times today. It was great to see Raha Mofo winning. I don't know if you saw caught up again on social media. Plenty of local people there happy to see Raha Mofo landing the spoils, and it's just great for Galway, which hasn't been offered too many top class contests over the last 2-3 years, to have a really wonderful competition like this, and to be won in such rude style by Raha Mofo.
Fantastic for the Malloy family. It's great, and another very, very popular family. Wonderful to see. But Raha Mofo is a credit to her trainer and all the family, and the wonderful work that's going on between Murty and Deirdre and all the lads. Fantastic training performance. 28-17 and 28-10 in Galway. And Galway is
28-20 and 28-27, Joe. Would you stop taking off the tens and adding the tens and whatnot? That's the grading tool.
You don't see those runs around Galway. They're rare, but to do it 2 weeks in a row was phenomenal training performance. Wonderful to see. And credit to the Malloy family and the Leahy family. I mean, their kennels flying at the moment, so really, really great to see. What about the pronunciation? Is it Mofo or Mofo?
It's Mofo. It's Mofo. Well, listen, I've commentated on most of her races, and I was never corrected, so I'm happy to call her Mofo.
No, it must be. Can you think about anyone in recent times that have broken two track records?
There have been a few, and listen, I can't remember them off the top of my head. I know there's been plenty of dogs that have done it twice in the same stake, but maybe not in concurrent weeks. But no, it has definitely been done. I remember the 1,000-yard bitch of Loch Nans at Shelburne Park did it. I think she equaled her clock the following week. I know Arden Asul Jet took a break. Took a week's break. He broke the clock, took a week, and then broke it the following week. I know Late Show did something similar at one point, but off the top of my head, I can't remember many. But it's definitely been done. So somebody replied the other day to us and said it mentioned the dog. I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm afraid. Anyway, listen, a great performance, and hopefully she'll rock up at the Winter Racing Festival to be an Oaks champion, a Galway Oaks champion, and to get so far in the Juvenile Classic in an era of just the most incredible bitches. Tommy just tells you how talented she is.
Yeah, that's where we stand in. It's I don't know if it's even an era anymore. It's gone on so long. It's we just take it for granted now that the bitches are as good as the dogs, and they're showing
and often better.
And often better. They're shown in all competitions. It's class. I've said it so many times. It's kind of boring, but like just the overall standards. It's no surprise that the Laurels was as good as it was. That the Leger is as good as it is, and the Derby was brilliant. I mean, they're just there. We have the talent there, and we're getting to see a lot of them, which is great.
Yep. Listen, lots to look forward to in the coming weeks. Obviously, the Leger continues on Saturday night, 2 wonderful semi-finals. The National Puppy Stake comes to a conclusion. 6 wonderful, exciting young dogs in action in that. We have the Winter Racing Festival at the back end of the year at the 29th and 30th of December at Shelburne Park. We want to see the very, very best in action there. I believe the Derby champion has been lined up. Hopefully the Oaks champion will be there amongst others, so it should be a wonderful occasion. That's it from us, though, on this Monday night. Before I leave you, gentlemen, you never told me what's going to win the Leger. Tommy?
If I had to have a bet right now, I'd back Bacchus Crystal to win it, but I'd back Ballymacwisp at 4 or 16 to 1.
Joe?
Mustang Jet. I think that 2803 form he has around Shelburne, I think if he brings that to prominence over the 550. And that's and he's not in favourite. Normally I go for the favourites. He's not first 2 or 3 in the bitten, but Mustang Jet would be my choice.
I'm gonna say Ballymacwisp. Yeah, to hell with it. Stick your neck on the line. Ballymacwisp for me, gentlemen. Very best of luck. Thank you so much, Joe. We will catch up with you, no doubt, in the coming weeks. Bring that guitar home, entertain the masses on Leger final night, and we never know. We might see you before then. But that's it from us.
Limerick for the Leger final night, no?
Huh?
Will you just be down in Limerick for the Talking Dogs Roadshow?
I was hoping to get down for the Leger final, but I believe Barry Call is going to be in Cheltenham that weekend by cover. So we'll see. We might try and do a little bit of a jig and see what we can do.
For anyone tuning in, I'll be kicking off after the last race. Live music there straight after the last race. I want to rock it with a good night. I'm counting down the minutes till I get home. Jesus, some man to get a plug in, Tommy, isn't he? Huh? Always has the last word. Always has the last word. Well done, Joe. Tommy, I'll definitely see you soon. Remember, Talking Dogs Roadshow, December 6th. Still time to express your interest in being there. But that's it from this Talking Dogs on a Monday. We'll see you next time. Good luck, good night, God bless.